Fuck around, make my 40 pop. No popcorn, I pop pistols, reaming my body.
Alright guys, in today's video I want to reply to a couple of comments that did actually catch my eye. The first comment comes from Planted Code. He says, I think Shibai is communicating with Amado just like how Momoshiki is communicating with Boruto. The way I kind of interpret this, and of course this right here might not necessarily be the way that you actually meant it, and of course I'll address the way that you possibly meant it later on, but I think it's possible that Amado might actually be the vessel of Shibai Otsutsuki. Now again, this right here is an extremely far-fetched idea, but I definitely want to bring it up, mainly because it's definitely not out of the picture. First thing being is that because they actually introduced Shibai Otsutsuki, the Otsutsuki god, which they've essentially been hinting for a very long time, I believe that he's probably going to be involved in this series somehow. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that he's definitely going to be the person who's actually inhabiting Amado's body, but I personally believe that he's actually going to be in the series. Now, one of the best ways for him to actually be implemented into the series is, of course, to be the Otsutsuki member that's been controlling Amado the whole time, be the master manipulator behind damn near everything. But, however, of course, there has to be like an underlying reason upon why Shibai is actually in the Hidden Leaf Village, why Shibai was actually following around Ishiki Otsutsuki, a bunch of stuff like that. Those are the things that has to make sense for this theory to actually be feasible. As of right now, I have absolutely no idea why Shibai would actually need to be in the Hidden Leaf Village. It could possibly be because of the 16 space curvatures. Now, can Shibai be communicating with Amado without him actually being the vessel of Shibai? I definitely think it's possible, but again, the reasoning has to definitely be up there. And again, I personally believe that the reasoning for Amado would possibly be just like world, or not even world, but like universal peace. I mean, one of the things that I'm kind of feeling is that it's possible for Boruto to actually have that same drive that Naruto did have, of essentially making a peaceful world for all shinobis, but actually make it on a universal level where Boruto himself is actually trying to make peace amongst the Otsutsuki clan, people of Earth, and of other clans and other races out there. Maybe Amado kind of being controlled or being talked to in another dimension by Shibai is kind of like the first agent of trying to accomplish something like that. And if what Amado was actually talking about could possibly be true, how Shibai wasn't necessarily killed, how he just transcended the need for a physical body, it's 1000% possible for him to still be communicating with Amado. But the next comment comes from Wavy BT. Says, all I'm going to say is if the writers make Boruto the villain rather than Kawaki being the one that leaves, a lot of people will get on the bandwagon. This is a very good idea. The idea of Boruto going rogue has been floating around for a very long time, and of course Boruto actually becoming the villain has actually been thought of as well. I actually made a video about this as well. The big problem with this idea, however, is the fact that Boruto himself probably wouldn't necessarily be the guy to actually go villain mode. It would probably be Momoshiki, so it wouldn't necessarily have that same kind of sentimental figure or sentimental factor to it, or like emotional factor to it, especially if hypothetically Boruto goes against Naruto. Now again, the possibility of Boruto himself becoming a villain, I think that right there is extremely small, especially coming off the heels of Boruto learning about the cycle of hatred and him essentially risking his life to stop a war in the Hidden Mist Village, him making a complete 180 in the matter of 3 years. It's possible. I'm not necessarily going to say it's impossible, but I'm going to say it's very, very much unlikely. But of course, if it does become Boruto being the villain, it wouldn't necessarily be a bad idea for me. I personally like it. The only thing, however, is that Boruto's will has to stay strong. Boruto cannot be flip-flopping off of just the whim. He himself can't necessarily be directed by the wind. There are some characters that could possibly be directed by the wind. Let's say a Mitsuki, even reluctantly, let's say a Sarada possibly, depending on what Boruto and Mitsuki both collectively do. Boruto himself has to be an independent thinker because he is the leader of the series. Honestly, it has to be a very, very strong reason upon why Boruto would flip. Now, we did kind of get a glimpse of that in the last chapter, but it was nothing close to what would actually make Boruto flip on the Hidden Leaf Village in Naruto. But let me know what you guys think about this in the comment section down below. But the next comment comes from my guy, Davon Taylor. He says, I feel like Momoshiki is going to have a huge power up like how Karma did with Ishiki. I definitely think Boruto is going to change Momoshiki's heart just like how Naruto did with the Nine Tails. I actually 1000% really hope this happens. I really am rooting for the Boruto Momoshiki relationship, but even past that, I'm hoping for a Momoshiki power up, just like how you said. And even if it's not necessarily to the level of like, let's say a Baara mode where it's like a one-time thing and makes him like significantly stronger than everybody, even let's say a Nine Tails chakra mode or something like that. If Momoshiki had something like that, I would absolutely love it. Just make Boruto that much stronger. But of course, in a situation like this, when we are talking about characters at the levels of gods, an Otsutsuki member level power up could definitely possibly be even above a Baryon mode, because let's be honest, the Nine Tails is essentially a function of the 10-tailed beast. Momoshiki is like an actual Otsutsuki member. And another thing that we did find out in the last chapter is that Momoshiki has knowledge of the divine arts, the abilities that the Otsutsuki god was literally using. So even if there is no other form that Momoshiki can actually give to Boruto, if Momoshiki can actually teach him some divine arts, that takes Boruto to a completely different level. If Momoshiki and Boruto work together, and again gives Boruto that 1,000 years of battle experience, because we clearly see the difference between Borushiki when Momoshiki is taking over and Boruto when he just has the Karma Seal. If he gives that level of experience to Boruto, again, immediately and instantly puts Boruto on a completely different level. But let me know what you guys think about this in the comment section down below, and we out.
It's a knife.